Joining me is William Sheriff, Executive Chairman of Encore Energy. Great to see you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Now, you think you have the most diversified in situ uranium development company in the United States. You're fairly close to production. You just struck a big acquisition. So put a bow on that for us and tell us about it.
Well, we come from a long history in the in situ business in uranium. And quite frankly, we've found mergers and acquisitions the easiest, best way to grow and certainly accelerate the cumbersome timeline of building new projects and permitting new projects. So, when I say most diversified, we've got 3 of the 10 plants in the U.S. that are licensed and built, 11 licensed, only 10 built. All of those are in Texas. And that, of course, will be our initial focus is in Texas, where we'll get projecting or anticipating a 3 million pound a year run rate within 3 years. But we certainly have ambitious plans to grow into South Dakota as well as Wyoming. So in terms of diversification, we're talking about plants and different projects going into the pipeline. Our customers want to see certainty of supply more than anything. And you achieve that with multiple properties and multiple production facilities, all concentrated in the U.S.
Right. That's what you're doing. And going further out, you want to be producing 5 million pounds in year 5 over this phased expansion that you're alluding to. So you've got Rosita restarting this year, Alta Mesa the next year, Dewey Burdock in 25, and so on. So flesh out the story more for us of the strategy.
Well, essentially, it's just building one on another and hopefully generating cash flow from the early projects to lead us into the later ones. Our board has mandated that our long-term objective is to be 50% exposed in our revenue to spot prices, 50% to contracts, although the early years will be a little bit heavily weighted towards contracts as we recoup the funds that we've taken to get the things off the ground. With the mix of contracts we have in hand now, we look to fulfill those, generate revenue, have a pretty quick buildup in revenue over the next 3 years, and then that will take care of building our new plant in South Dakota, which will be the Dewey Burdock project. Still in permitting, we still haven't begun state permitting, but we're almost resolved on the federal side. That should be done this year. Then we'll begin state permitting. Should be a relatively straightforward task with state permitting in South Dakota. And then similarly moving into Wyoming, right on the heels of South Dakota.
And then Encore Energy is on the New York Stock Exchange now. You recently rang the opening bell. What was that experience like? And also, what's that going to do to broaden exposure to more sharelders?
Well, it was a lot of fun, and it was NYSE Amex, just to clarify, but It certainly was ringing the big board bell. And, we'd done it before with the first company, and it was 16 long years ago, but no less exciting by any means. It was, a great time. And what it really does for us is it doesn't increase our investor awareness pool or potential capital pool by an order of magnitude. It's several orders of magnitude, maybe 4 or 5 orders of magnitude. The U.S. is the world's largest capital market, and the U.S. is extremely energy-centric in terms of the investment world and high tech, but energy has always been a huge component. And oftentimes the Canadian listed companies don't get a fair shake from the bigger institutions there. And realistically, with the in situ process, we aren't a mining company. We're a uranium producing company, but we do it mostly through pumps and drilling, much more akin to the oil and gas industry that so many of the investors in the U.S. understand. So getting into that market with an energy focus and clearly a need with a deficit in uranium in the U.S., it just really opens the door to so many funds that it's really hard to measure. But it's just the biggest stage on earth, really.
Right, sure. And just lastly, William, you've mentioned a lot of tailwinds for the company, a lot of the factors that make up the investment case. But for investors who may be on the fence or they're deciding, they're looking at other uranium companies, what are the two or 3 main things that make Encore stand out?
Well, I think you have to start with our people. Here again, uranium is not that unusual or uncommon. It's the 8th most abundant element on the planet. Having the expertise or the existing permits in place, coupled with the unquestionable deepest bench in the in situ world in terms of production ability, people with the credentials. One of our board members was a co-inventor of the process. The 2 of our board members together have built the last 5 in situ plants. We don't have a monopoly on talent. There's some other very talented people in the industry, but we've got way more than our fair share. And that coupled with the head start on these things just makes a big difference.
Thanks, William. We'll be following.
All right, thank you.
Great stuff. William Sheriff, Executive Chairman at Encore Energy.